The Cheyenne Mountain Complex wasn't built, it was found. Military locations, such as the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, Colorado Springs, a fully self-sustaining underground city. Designated as a military complex, pinning it as military, and doing this to restrict the public to an old world, extremely advanced location. By saying that this site is for military purposes, this immediately makes it illegal for the public to go there and dig deeper. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex, it includes 25-ton doors. We are told that there are 15 massive underground buildings with independent air, water, and power supply, all inside this mountain, and the ability to survive any type of event that takes place on the surface. I believe that we've found a location and other sites that are from the old world and are now pinned as military sites today. I believe that these locations, and there are many all over the world, these locations were constructed by the previous civilization. These sites were found. They were looted by the governments, and these sites are fully restricted to the public today. We are all told that the official purpose of the Cheyenne Mountain Complex was all for the Cold War, serving as the headquarters for the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, doing all of this to monitor nuclear missile launches and coordinating U.S. defense responses. So they pin it as a military complex, and then this immediately, with no questions asked, it immediately restricts it from the public and the whole world. As soon as they do this, this location is now classified, all for national security. The official story, what they're telling us, is that this massive facility was carved 2,000 feet into solid granite, doing this using 1960s technology and getting the whole thing done in just 6 years. None of this is logical at all, especially when we see that it is recorded that 700,000 tons of solid granite were removed from Cheyenne Mountain. Just 6 years, during an era that predated modern tunneling equipment, digital surveying tools, and high-efficiency debris removal systems. Not only did they remove the granite perfectly and never made a mistake, but they also supposedly constructed the 15 steel-reinforced underground buildings. And nobody is talking about this. This would be one of the most incredible accomplishments in modern engineering. But I believe that the reason that it's off limits and not praised from the rooftops is because it was found. And there is so much more than 15 buildings, and they wanted to use the old world sites, and they still do today. They relocated NORAD operations in 2006, but the Cheyenne Mountain Complex was never decommissioned, because if they did this, it would no longer be classified, and the public would then be able to see what was going on there. So they kept it going. Still for military use, of course. Fully staffed, we are told. Power stayed on and operational. In 2015, the Pentagon awarded a $700 million contract to upgrade the infrastructure. Could you even imagine what is really going on in there? Could you even imagine what they found? Is this a location that the previous civilization stayed, hid? Does this place that we live, does it have resets more often than we know? A place that we are told is fully self-sustaining, an underground city with massive underground buildings and independent air, water, and power supply. This doesn't sound like something that our timeline does. Not at all. This sounds like something that the previous civilization would do. And we all know what our technology was in the 1960s. We know what it looked like. Thanks to NASA.gov, we have a great photo. We were riding around on lawn chairs, and we had upside-down umbrellas. It was incredible. No, our civilization, in my opinion, was not constructing massive, self-sustaining underground complexes in just 6 years underneath a mountain. And the Cheyenne Mountain Complex 100% remains active and a critical component of the U.S. national defense. And what's so weird is that they will not take a picture and show us all the 15 buildings that are in there. Meaning, of course, like we said earlier, that there may be more. And they're probably not steel beam buildings. I believe that these are palaces. They will not show us a picture of the barracks, storage vaults, or the deepest tunnels. No visual proof of any deeper levels below the main complex, meaning this thing could be massive and so much bigger than we are told. I guarantee that in the 1960s, after they said they built this in 6 years, if they allowed the public to go inside at that point, their 6-year timeline would have been shredded in an instant because the complex would have been massive and so much bigger than we are told. And a 6-year timeline would have been laughable. We've seen the 18-level tunnel network in Turkey from episode 84. This place had to be so much more in depth and still is today. A much more powerful site. A site that would have totally shredded their mainstream story hour in a single second. And the craziest part is that this is not the only one in the world. There is another one in Russia during the Cold War. And of course, we are told that this one was built in the 1970s, all during the same exact time period. It was just normal to start constructing massive complexes right underneath the mountain. No, I believe that they were finding them because they figured out what to look for. And the one in Russia, we are told, doesn't just have a few buildings. We are told that U.S. intelligence believes that this one has massive, full underground cities. The Yamantau Mountain, Russia, where public tours don't exist. The size is, of course, unknown, with multiple intelligence assessments, including declassified U.S. reports, suggesting that this is not a bunker, but rather a vast underground city complex. It is believed to house 30 to 60,000 people, with extensive independent life support systems yet again, including water purification, agricultural capabilities, and energy production. All of this under a mountain again. These things are 100% places that the old world lived and protected thousands of people, if not millions. All from the event that we have talked about so many times on this channel. The event, and possibly events, that wiped out the previous civilization, resetting everything, burying so many structures, melting so many buildings, and even made some of them look like caves. Again, this is all in my opinion. You are always free to think whatever you'd like. My goal is to find as much evidence as possible, and I believe at this point, we have found where the previous civilization went to survive. And we also found where they went if they didn't get inside one of these massive underground complexes. They would go to the catacombs or the necropolises, and so on and so forth. Episode 72, episode 78, episode 92, episode 105, 106, episode 108, episode 110, episode 111, and 112. All show exactly where the previous civilization went. The ones that didn't make it. The structures that didn't make it. A great one to watch is episode 73. There is so much documented information as to where the previous civilization is and what they built. Now let's keep going. A 6-page declassified document released in 2012, June 3rd. The declass that we just talked about. We get a map with projected rail lines, completed rail lines, road and construction areas, operation areas, housing, and more. Then on the next page, page 4, which I'm guessing had another map, we get page denied. So obviously there's a lot going on here that's still off limits to the public. Page 5, we get the analysis from 1984. Declassed. We are told that there is an extensive underground construction project where it is constructed into hard crystalline rock. The function of the project, which we already know here, it doesn't resemble a mining operation. Of course it doesn't. And it has not been determined what the true function of the project is at that time. They cannot figure out what the function of the project is. These intelligence officials were over there and they were very good at their job. I believe that they didn't have the clearance to know what this was, but they were so good at their job that they figured out that this was not a mining project, and I believe that this is something that they'd never seen before. The US government declassed that this is not for mining, and the true purpose of the underground complex is unknown. Going on down here to say, they took images revealing that the project spanned almost 20 nautical miles. Massive, and far larger than any normal military base. Page 6 of 6, stating they were constructing buildings that were covering vertical shafts to descend into the complex, as well as the tunnel entrances. And they gave us the coordinates right here at the bottom. These locations right now show a ton of trees and no street view, even going back in time to 2008. It's covered by trees and you can't put the guy down. But every single one of us already know something is there in all of these locations. These locations may look like nothing right now, but these are markers to enter underground. These are locations to the shafts. Remember, we were told in the D class that they were designed to blend in with no security fences. If we were all gonna hide something, you wouldn't mark it with a sign. You would make it so that when you look overhead, you would see nothing. It would look exactly like it looks today. You would blend it in. I guarantee you, if you go to these locations today, there will be an entrance. So let's go back and take this even further. The first coordinates that we are given looks like nothing, but it is of course located right next to this town. Mezgari is a closed city. The entire town was built, operated, and secured by the military for the purpose of supporting classified projects. This is a closed town, a closed city. The entire city was built. It was operated and secured by the military for the purpose of supporting classified projects. Entry to this town is strictly prohibited to outsiders. Even the Russian citizens must obtain special military authorization just to visit. So you got to be a part of the military. You can't just go in this city. And you have to have military authorization in order to work within its borders. This city houses military personnel, engineers, scientific specialists, and admin staff. This location, this entire location, is completely locked down. And these coordinates are access points to this massive old world underground city that is right underneath the ground in this location. So who gave us these coordinates? Why should we trust them? These locations, they were given to us by top U.S. military intelligence analysis, trained to detect and assess secret enemy infrastructure. The NPIC, or the National Photographic Interpretation Center. Now going back to Google Earth for a second, we have talked about how these mountains could be massive complexes inside. We've seen it, and now I believe we are totally getting confirmation. In my opinion, these were not recently constructed underground cities. I fully believe that they were found. And the ones that are in use today, like these two that we have shown, were just incredible. So incredible that they didn't want to destroy them. They wanted to use them. So just pinning them as military complexes is the easiest way to do this. And nobody's gonna think twice about it. And it's theirs to keep forever. Whatever technology, any artifacts inside, the tools, or the structure itself, all of it will be off limits to the public. And it's hidden. You can't see it because it's underground. And they can actually put it to use right now. And if anything catastrophic happened again, they have a mountain palace from the old world to go hide in. So Denver seems pretty interesting. We have the Denver airport, where the entire world knows at this point that there are underground complexes there, when they just went $3.1 billion over budget, saying that it was all for baggage handling systems, with many engineers and contractors who worked on the site describing entire underground levels, including tunnels and large spaces. All of this, of course, had nothing to do with baggage. The DIA has a vast underground baggage system that was supposedly just abandoned. This is confirmed. Also confirmed, multiple levels of underground tunnels, with workers, again reporting sealed off tunnels, rooms, and security clearances. All of this is under a public airport, with 5 known buildings being underground, and were constructed during the early phases of DIA construction. Now, I'm not saying these buildings were constructed by the previous civilization at the Denver airport, but what I am suggesting is that there is a massive complex, and it's called the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, and it's located right down the road. And again, we don't know how big this thing really is, or where it extends underground. We know it's there, that's undeniable. And we also know that we are not allowed to go and see what's inside or how big it is. We know that the Denver airport also has buildings underground. These locations are all up for debate. All questions about them have to be on the table at this point. We know they are off limits to the public. We know there are underground buildings, locations that thousands of people can live, no problem at all. These are locations that can sustain massive catastrophic events. So why would we all think that they couldn't be connected right down the road, right under our feet, all over the world? And what else is right next to the Cheyenne Mountain Complex? Now that we're going to start questioning military bases. The Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado Springs, the headquarters for the U.S. Space Command. This is where the U.S. Space Force is located right now, right across the street from the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Is the Space Force to see what's going on above us, or is it to see what's going on below us? You tell me. We have another military complex right here, and then another one next to the Denver airport. All of this is telling me that this is all connected, and it's massive. The United States is different than Russia. The United States of America, the U.S. government, cannot legally create closed cities like we just saw in Russia. This is because of the constitutional protection. The 5th and the 14th Amendment guarantee citizens the fundamental right to move freely within and between states, a principle that has been repeatedly upheld by the Supreme Court. So because the government cannot say that this city or this location is closed to the public, like we saw in Russia, they have to legally find another way. And this is exactly why they created the military base excuse. And now you know. And once you know, you will never go back to not knowing. Bases like the Cheyenne Mountain and Peterson Space Force Base, these are federal military properties where civilians are barred because they cannot enter controlled military zones. They are no longer public towns, and this is how it's done. Blocking off old world underground sites in 1956, documented hundreds of times. Our timeline over and over and over. The Finders. Do you enjoy the truth? Please subscribe. You are not going to want to miss what's coming next. Military bases, sites that are designated for military operations, is an incredible way to go around the Constitution and restrict the public from old world sites. Raven Rock Mountain Complex. For the 3rd time on this channel and the 2nd time in the USA, we have located a mountain that has a giant underground city inside of it. Raven Rock, also known as the Underground Pentagon. Let's go further. We're told that they completed this thing in 1953, when we know that this is when they just found it and guarded it by military personnel with, yet again, 5 large underground buildings, each several stories tall and all connected by tunnels. This is clear evidence, in my opinion. Not every mountain, but there are definitely some. That mountains are not what we are told. Mountains with palaces inside of them and underneath them, where time and time again they are self-sufficient, having its own water reservoir, power plant, and air filtration system. The old world, in my opinion, was constructing these for the event that takes place, a place to live safely. And our civilization found them. They were unable to just block a mountain off from the public, so they had to pin it as a military base and guard it from all of us, while at the same time, they now have an underground complex that can protect them if need be. And then telling all of us that it only took them 4 years in 1948 to complete all of this. They can't even build a road today in 4 years, let alone an underground city under a mountain with buildings and tunnels. This narrative is ridiculous. Blasting out an entire mountain of solid granite, underground buildings, miles of tunnels, blast doors, power plants, water systems, all in the 1940s. This isn't working anymore. Especially when we all know that in the 2020s, a 5-level building that is built on the ground for all of us to see. For example, the Obama Presidential Center, located in Chicago, a project where the planning started in 2017 and a 4 to 5 story building above ground. They're still not done building it. They plan for it to be done in the spring of 2026. This is a 5-story building above ground today, not done. And it is insane to believe that in the 1940s, they were constructing cities in just 4 to 5 years under a mountain. This is a front story, blocking it off to the public so that we never got to see what was really inside from the previous civilization. Could you even imagine? We know that there are miles of tunnels. We know that there are buildings. We know that it's self-sustaining. I guarantee there are palaces, incredible things underneath our feet. What we see on the ground is nothing. Mountains are so much more than what we are told. And these military operations, these bases, they're loopholes to block it off to the public. So let's go deeper. Today's number one, the best tunnel boring machines can dig 1 to 1.5 miles of tunnel per month. In 1948 to 1953, they did not have this technology. They used dynamite, jackhammers, bulldozers, and trucks. So it's time to expose them forever and show the math behind this. In the 1950s, they were most likely removing 10 to 50 feet per day per tunnel crew. At 50 feet per day, they were taking 3.5 months to get 1 mile done. Without breaks, working nonstop to get 5 miles of tunnels done. Working nonstop. It would take over 4 years for the digging alone. Now, working a regular workday, 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week in the 1940s. This thing is taking a lot longer than 4 years, just for the digging alone. Their story is nonsense, and we all know it. This place is unbelievable. It's also way bigger than 5 miles. So it's time to take this even further. I want to show that this thing is bigger than 5 miles, and it's all under our feet right now. We have public official statements stating that Raven Rock is larger than many small towns underground. Another calling it a spider web, where 6 miles away, we have a place that many of us have heard of, Camp David. A secure presidential retreat guarded by Marines and Secret Service. We all know that it's connected underground, and we all know that it's a military operation. So now we know exactly what to look for. We look for the military bases. We all know right now that Camp David, only 6 miles away, is connected to Little Pentagon or Raven Rock. Do we all think that the president really just goes and hangs out in this little shack for fun all the time? Do we think he's just going in the middle of the woods for a retreat? Come on. These people live in old world palaces and own their own mansions. Why would a single president feel the need to go vacation here? Why would a single president that owns their own mansion, they just need to go vacation here at Camp David this many times? It's crazy. Check this out. Richard Nixon goes there 160 times. That's nuts. Gerald Ford goes there 29 times. Carter goes there 99 times. Reagan goes to this place 189 times. What is so fun? I haven't gone anywhere 189 times. This place doesn't look that fun. The first Bush goes there 124 times. Clinton goes there 60 times. Bush number 2 goes there another 150 times. Obama 39. Trump goes there 15 times. And Biden goes there 29 times as of August 2023, so I'm sure he went more than that. Let's break this down. Donald Trump owns Mar-a-Lago, a freaking palace resort in Palm Beach, Florida. 126 rooms and 62,500 square feet. And he has his own private club with a golf course that you'd only see in your dreams. It has amenities that would blow your mind. He can go to this place whenever he wants, even as president. He owns the whole thing, and not only this, but as president, you also live in the White House, which is another old world palace, and you have your own chef. Why in the world would he ever want to visit Camp David? Why would he want to go there 15 freaking times? At no point in time has a person with billions of dollars gone camping in a hut, and especially not 15 times. But let me tell you, and don't forget it, Camp David is no hut. This is a powerful location, and I believe it is a front for a very powerful underground network connecting 6 miles. I've already gone ahead and pinned all of the military locations on the map surrounding Raven Rock. And I'm going to show you how this is all connected. And I believe it's all connected underground. And it has been for so much longer than we're all told. I believe that these are important locations due to what was found. With Raven Rock centrally located on the map, we have Gettysburg 6 miles away as well, proving, in my opinion, that this really is a webbed underground network connecting to all these military locations and sites. Gettysburg was a huge Civil War battle in 1863 and remembered as the turning point in the Civil War. This is the location right next to Raven Rock. The Underground Railroad? Anyone? So right in the middle of all of these military locations, we have Raven Rock, where there are no tours to the public. This place is locked down and totally off limits, exactly like the other two. No entry under any circumstances. It's illegal to even approach the surrounding areas. The whole thing is guarded by the U.S. Army personnel and monitored 24/7. And satellite imagery is restricted around the entrances. So I'm not sure how we got this shot, but we did. And there you go. Rest assured that it wasn't from Google Earth. No full public map has ever been released. And this alone proves that it's way bigger than we are told. This thing is not 5 miles, and it wasn't built in 4 years in the 1940s. This is a powerful location that was found, and now it's off limits to the public fully, and it's guarded. And to prove they found this and totally freaked out, the government bought out and seized the land surrounding the site through eminent domain. Locals were forced to move. Farms and homes were wiped off the map, all to restrict the area surrounding the entrances. All of this, in my opinion, and of course you are always free to think whatever you like, this site is gated, guarded, restricted. Very important military bases, locations, all right next to each other surrounding Raven Rock. We all know that there's a massive city right under the ground there. And we all know they didn't build it. They found it. With more images of the entrances, these are named portals A and B. And as we swing around the side here, we can see portals C and D. Multiple entrances to a massive underground, old world complex, a city where we know there are buildings inside. I will never from this point on be able to just look at a mountain the same again. There's no way. There's no other massive government or military site that's located right next to Raven Rock, right? Wait, what is this? What is going on here? Washington, D.C. is located right next to all of this. A massive location connecting it all. And as we find this in real time, notes just decide to close automatically. It's all random, of course. Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States of America, without a doubt, is connected underground to all of this. This is unbelievable. I know that we're correct about this because thinking logically, the construction timeline doesn't add up. 4 years. No way. The major locations surrounding the area are all off limits and all for military purposes. We have Washington, D.C. right down the road, the capital of the United States. We know there is an underground city in this location. They have told us this, and we can see it. And it's all built into solid rock. It's documented. We can see the entrances, and we've seen this twice now in the USA. And once in Russia. We know that this sort of thing is not a once-off. We know that they were built to be places that thousands of people could go live in for extended periods of time, in case there was some sort of event that wiped people off the map. Just like we've talked about so many times on this channel, and this is where all these buildings come from, the previous civilization. A very powerful, extremely advanced group of people that lived here before us. We know this. We know that nobody was building all of this in just 4 years in the 1940s. And this is exactly why it's off limits to the public. If you let people go in there and didn't say it was a military base, it would completely destroy their narrative. The pictorial map of Maryland, which is right around this area, was published in 1935 by Edwin Tunis. And what do we all see right here? What is being depicted? Are you kidding me? We have an airship right here, right in the middle, right here in Baltimore, and this is incredible, where thousands of people looked up and saw it floating across the sky, silently like a ghost ship. Episode 48, go check it out after this. And do we all remember from episode 124, do we all remember the space treaty, where civilians were allowed to use SAR images to see what was under the ground in all 100 countries that signed it? Do you understand just how badly they don't want you to know what's going on here? So I'm gonna take this research to another level from here on out. Remember when I said we need more independent researchers that can learn these SAR scanning methods? You guys can do that, but we have upgraded our systems here. And we are gonna just start ripping these places apart. We're gonna start doing the SAR scanning, and we're gonna start doing it right now. Here we go. We have located the area where Raven Rock is located. Using SAR, we are going to be able to see right under the surface and right through all the trees. So we're gonna change the settings here to get a clearer look and zoom in. And you can see that there are massive structures right under the ground. This is unbelievable. Huge tunnel networks in a massive opening. Look at these tunnels. This is a massive area. So this structure right here, it has to be huge. This is crazy. Can you even imagine what we're going to unlock? These are obviously not naturally forming at all. We have 90-degree angles all over the place. You have this massive one right in the center. And then you have another one right over here to the left. This is like a massive city. There's so many buildings right here. There are so many underground structures, and it all looks identical to the way that it was described to us. Just like an underground city that can hold thousands of people. This is massive to our research and what we're doing here. This is going to unlock so much for us when we take this SAR analysis and start looking underneath the cathedrals. The upcoming episodes will begin to open so many people's eyes. And for anybody that needs additional confirmation, let's send this photo into their AI, ChatGPT, where it says, yes, you are seeing what's happening at and just under the surface. The patterns you're seeing, those are not random. They are signatures of underground human activity or ancient buried structures, just like we talked about. And I cannot wait to show you what we're gonna do next. See ya.